You go. Rodney,
Here we are.
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, first of all, it means a lot that you've given some time to talk to me. It's hard to get people to give you a chance when you're first starting out, so I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
So, what have you been up to? You said you're on the road.
Yes, I am. I've been driving for the last couple days from Utah to Texas, doing a show tonight in
Okay.
Fort Worth. And I happen to have a brother-in-law that lives not too far from Fort Worth, so I'm staying at his place right now. They're all off to work and horse shows. I'm just hanging out here with a rabbit, a cat, and 4 dogs, having a great time.
Yeah, it sounds like the best company. Sounds like the best company.
Yeah.
So, are you just traveling, or are you doing any gigs whilst you're going across the country? Or
I'm doing a comedy club, Big Laughs Comedy Club in Fort Worth, and tonight, tomorrow night, and then I'm flying Sunday morning to Helena, Montana, and doing a show there that night, and then flying back here to Texas to pick up my car and drive to California for 2 weeks, doing shows out there.
I didn't catch a lot of that, Rodney. It started breaking up towards the end there. But I heard that you're
Oh,
doing some gigs in the comedy club.
yeah, I'm doing Fort Worth for 2 nights, and then I'm flying to Helena, Montana for 1 night, then fly back here, get my car, and drive to California and do shows there for a
It's
week and a half.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's a busy life, but it sounds like an exciting one.
But yeah, I'm having a great time. I can't complain.
That's awesome. No,
There's
definitely not.
uh,
And is it the same character you do online or on Instagram as you do on stage?
no, I have a whole cast of characters that joins me on stage. That's just one of them. So
Okay, and
yeah.
where did the characters come from? Like, how did you come about creating the characters? Is it from life experience, or is it from just your own mind?
Just everything, just, being a kid and making fun of everything going on in the world.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the nice thing about being a comedian. You don't have to grow up.
No, yeah, no, exactly. I think that's something I try to do on the podcast. There's parts of it where I try and poke fun at the world, but in a humorous way, to try and make it
Yeah.
not too serious.
Or the cat needs attention.
The cat likes you, yeah. What's that cat's called?
You know what? I never asked the name. I don't know. It's
You've
just
never
cat.
asked him.
It's a cat.
That's rude, Rodney, to never ask the name.
I got it late last night.
Yeah, you're stroking it and you didn't even ask its name.
Yeah. Well, it
So,
seems to imply consent. It won't leave me alone.
well, at least one of them likes you. 1 out of 4 isn't bad.
Yep.
Sorry, Rodney. So I read somewhere, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but were you in the Marines, or is that just something I've seen on the internet?
Yes. I did a 4-year stint in the United States Marine Corps.
Okay.
Yes, I
How
did.
was
It
that
was a
experience?
field radio. It
Okay.
was great, mostly for the comedy material.
Okay, I can imagine, yeah.
No, I'd joined back in '91, and because of the first Gulf War, and then the Gulf War was over and done before my first week of boot camp,
Mhm.
and so I was like, "Well, can I go home now?" But they made me stick around.
Okay,
No, it
well, you
was
must have been doing
great.
a good job.
Well, I was filling a seat. That was the important thing.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
filled an open seat.
Exactly. And did your comedic flair come out in the Marine Corps as well? Were you a good morale booster for
Oh,
the
yeah,
guys in there?
you know, yeah, they say, the Marine Corps boot camp is the hardest boot camp in the U.S. Military,
Mhm.
and they, give you all kinds of advice to how to get through it and everything. And to be honest with you, the hardest thing for me was to keep from laughing
Okay.
at how ridiculous the drill instructors were. I remember one
Okay.
one time they come in and they start going off, and the one drill instructor's like, "We can sit here and play games like this all day long." I mean, they would do these things where you'd have a foot locker with all your stuff in it, and they would come
Mm.
and they would dump everybody's footlockers in the middle of the squad bay, in the middle of our living quarters, as it were. And so all of our
Yeah.
stuff is mixed up with everybody else's stuff. And they start yelling and screaming at us. And then they say, I could do this all day, like we're going to be doing this all day. And I just start kind of smirk. I get a little smirk on my face, and the drill instructor notices. And he
Yeah.
walks up to me and says, Norman, what's so funny? Sir, no, nothing, sir. He said, no, Norman, you were laughing. What are you laughing about? And just kind of under my breath, so only he could hear it, I said, I got no other plans.
Yeah, well, that's very true.
And he had to
Yeah.
do the thing where they have the Smokey the Bear hat on, the
Yeah.
campaign cover, as they call it. He had to pull it down and cover his face because he started laughing. And then he pulls it back, and then he, made me do a lot of push-ups.
Yeah.
So,
That's that.
and then I had one time they were, it just, it was so funny. I just started, it still sticks with me all to this day. The one drill instructor goes, you have 5 minutes to get this squad bay cleaned and into perfect condition for a white glove inspection. I've used 3 minutes of your time explaining this. Go. I mean, it was just silly things like that would happen
Yeah.
all the time. And then just the military in general is just, regardless if it's US or anywhere else, just the military life in itself is just so bizarre and presents all kinds of weird, strange circumstances, especially when you have that power dynamic of that somebody has absolute power over
Mm.
you, and just the camaraderie that you have, because you always have, as a group, you always have one common enemy, and it's usually the person in charge.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of sets up just some strange and fun things.
Yeah, some strange situations you got yourself into with the guys, I imagine.
Yeah.
And so did you just do the boot camp, or did you ever go active on boots on the ground, or were
I
you
never
lucky
I
enough
never saw
to avoid
any.
that?
Yeah, I did, I was in active service for 4 years. I didn't see
Mm.
any, real life action. I came close to
Yeah.
almost getting sent out for a couple things, but never anything. And I'm grateful for that. I mean, the
No,
people that have
definitely.
hopefully, you know, been in harm's way, I have all kinds of love, admiration, and respect for them.
Mhm.
But
That's
fortunately, I
awesome.
was never in that position.
Well, that's happy days. That's happy days. You're so I'm interested in your comedy. Like how did you go about starting? How did you get in? Because I read that you do your gigs now in Utah at Wise Guys. Was that where you started, or is that where you sort of go to now?
Well, that's where I really got going. I started in Kansas City, Missouri. To do
Okay.
comedy, you just start. I didn't know anything about getting into comedy. My wife kept bugging me to do it because,
Mm.
again, when we were first married, I was in the Marine Corps, and we'd have friends over, from my unit, and I would make fun of people in the unit. I'd make fun of drill instructors.
Yeah.
And my wife just kept pushing me. She's like, "You need to do stand up,
Mm.
that's what you need to pursue."
Yeah.
And finally one day I just decided, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I found an open mic, got up there, did 3 minutes of lackluster material, got a couple chuckles, and thought, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm
Yeah.
doing forever.
The big time.
Yeah. And so I was in Kansas City for a couple years, and then we moved back to Utah, where I'm originally from. And I met another guy, another comedian, and we got together and ended up starting Wise Guys comedy clubs together.
Mm.
I was a house
Okay.
MC. He put up all the money, so he owns the whole thing. I
Okay.
just happened to be there along for the ride.
Yeah.
So
Well, I suppose, Rodney, he put up the money, but you were bringing the people in with your comedy, so it was fair, I think, in that exchange.
yeah, it was a good trade. And you need for comedy, you can take classes and you can read books and everything. In comedy, you have to figure out, what's funny about you. So
Mm.
it's a very personal sort of journey because, you can get up there, you can just act like everybody else. You can you can, see how somebody else does a joke and just do a joke the way they do it. But to
Yeah.
really stand out in comedy, you have to you have to really find your own voice. That's the
Mm.
hardest part of the whole thing, is just figuring out what's funny about you.
And is that when you started to create these characters, or you started? Did you
Well,
try one
I've
out
kind
and
of
then?
yeah, you're always working on new material, you're working on new characters. It's
Mm,
just sort of a constant ongoing journey, as it were.
yeah.
Because you always have to be, pushing the envelope and looking at life in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And so,
you get inspiration from the weirdest places. Like, I have this whole joke that goes on. It's like 15-20 minute long bit, and it all came from one time I was in. It was actually Rock Springs, Wyoming, and I
okay.
was walking into a gas station, or petrol station, as you guys I think would call
Yeah,
them.
it's we say, yeah.
Um, and so as I'm walking in, this guy's coming out of the store at the same time, and he stands there a second and just holds the door for me, which is very nice. I said,
Mm-mm.
"Oh, thank you." And he says, "Yeah, we just kind of we did the man thing where we just kind of looked at each other and just nodded our heads.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
"Hey, thanks." Well,
yeah.
just as I got right next to him, he kind of turned his head and he sneezed. Just, from the getting out into the open sunlight, he sneezed, and so I just kinda
Mm,
looked back over my shoulder and said, "Oh, bless you," and I think I even said, "God bless you," and, as we do,
mm.
and he just goes, "I don't believe in God." I It was just weird. It was like,
Yeah,
just didn't
yeah,
expect him to turn it into a theological debate over a sneeze,
yeah,
and
yeah. I'm not
but
here to
just that
debate
whole
religion.
Yeah, it was just a silly kind of thing, and then it turned just talking about it's turned into a big, long bit of so it's you never know. I mean, you could sit and write out all kinds of ideas and spend hours, trying to perfect a joke, and then all of a sudden one day, you're just walking down the street, and all of a sudden the joke will hit you.
Yeah.
So comedy's just such a weird thing. You're just always looking out for it. Like, oh,
Mm,
this my favorite one to explain is, I was, visiting some friends of mine in California, and they are Tongans. They're, Polynesian Tongan,
mhm,
and, uh, good friends of mine, been, kinda our kids kinda got raised together, as like almost like cousins just because we were such good friends.
mhm.
And anyway, I'm visiting them one Saturday morning, and I get up and go for walks whenever I can. I like long walks. And I went out to the beach near their home, and they were having some sort of beach festival going on that started really early in the morning. And so I get there around noon or so, and I'm walking through this thing, and there's all these people from everywhere, and they've got, music going, they got food cooking, they've got arts and crafts, people doing paintings of
Yeah.
people, and just, big festivity thing. As I'm
Mhm.
walking, I'm looking around, I realize that like I'm the only white guy who's at this festival.
Yeah.
And it just kind of struck me as like, and I didn't feel uncomfortable around a place, but it was just
No,
funny that I'm the only white person right here. And then the joke hit me. I was like, wow, I guess I'm in charge.
no. Okay.
And it made me laugh so hard because it's, just such a ridiculous thought.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I laughed to myself. I literally was walking down the middle of this thing just laughing my butt off about this silly joke that I just thought of.
And now you're that crazy white guy now, yeah, laughing to yourself.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just always looking for, just and it's funny because it's just those weird little inspirations or those moments that hit you that turn out to be the best stuff for you.
No, and I think that's it. I think it's if you can find humor in your day-to-day life, then it does make it much easier just to get through, doesn't it? To get by.
Oh,
Like you
absolutely.
say,
This whole life thing is
mm,
absurd. I mean, we're,
yeah,
a couple billion people on a rock floating around in space. This is crazy.
yeah.
This whole
I have
idea
to
is
say,
insane.
I have the same thing. I mean, I remember sitting in a park a few months ago, and I was sort of watching everyone going about their business, and I'm just thinking, I can't accept this. I can't accept that this is meant to be like, who decided what you do? Who decided what you are? And where we will go? Where have you been? Where are you going? Just all these thoughts in my head. It entertains me, but it confuses me at the same time. Because I'm never going to have an answer, but I always ask myself the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's madness. I mean, I always just have that thought of like, what if we just said no one day? No, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not following those rules. I'm going to make my own rules. Like, what would happen? Like, it's always a question I ask myself as well. If we just not a burn it down sort of revolt, but just a quiet sort of no. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to do my own thing. Thank you very much. I'm out. I didn't sign up for this game. So it always baffles me as well. Yeah.
But it's funny because if we could all just agree to just change this whole system,
Yeah.
we could. But we're all
Mm.
kept trapped to these little boxes that we put ourselves in out of fear
Mm-hmm.
and of other people that want to hold control and power over us, and they want us to think a certain way and behave a certain way so that they can
Mm-hmm.
maintain order in their minds. And
Yeah.
that's kind
And
of
that's
the fun
exactly
thing
what.
about the internet, is that we're able to actually start talking to each other and
Mm-hmm.
present these sort of ideas that, like, yeah, why do we do these silly things? Why are we
Yeah.
supporting it that's killing us all and enslaving us into a financial disparity? At some point
Yeah.
in time, we
Because
gotta go, hey, yeah, we don't like this.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not working. So can we try something else, please?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
don't we? Yeah, it's a simple question, really, but it's frowned upon by a lot of people if you try and do something outside of the norm. Then you're seen as a bit crazy or a bit
Oh,
unstable.
absolutely.
But
Well, I remember when I was a kid and I was trying to understand money. So I kept asking my
yeah.
mom, I says, well, why is this important? Why is this piece of paper more valuable than this other piece of paper?
Mm.
Why can't I just write on it that this is worth $100, and but
Yeah.
this paper that somebody else printed, this piece of paper is worth all this, but and it's just
Mm.
paper.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom trying to explain, well, because we accept it as the currency. And I was like, well, what if we all just decided we didn't accept it? And
That's
she
the
goes, well, I
question.
guess, I guess we could. I say, you just get everybody to go along with it. You can, I guess. And it's always hung with me as a kid. I was just like, all this stuff that we just accept, we just
Mm.
accept it because that's the way it is,
Yeah.
whether it's good,
And
bad, or otherwise.
and that's always got me into some form of trouble through school or work or in my mind, in my head. If it doesn't make sense to me, then I don't understand why I would do it.
Yeah. Well, school in general, you look at school and all the stuff they teach, a lot of it is just nonsense that you're never going to
Mm.
use, that teaches you
Yeah.
nothing about life and society.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much once you stop listening to school, that's when you get educated in life.
Yeah, and I agree because I feel ever since I left school quite early. I left school at 16, and I feel that I learned a lot more outside of school than I ever did inside of school. I mean, I can't remember when I used algebra outside of school. I can't remember anything that I really used in school outside of school. It just seems like it's more of as a system of conforming. Do you know what I mean? To teach you early that there's superiors and there's rules, and you need to stick to the rules, otherwise you get punished. And if you dare try and bend them or step outside of them, then there's consequences. So it instills like a small amount of fear in you before you even leave school to then challenge your question, which I think is
Yeah, yeah,
important for anyone to grow, is to challenge and question.
yeah, absolutely. The whole mantra is show up, shut up, and do what you're told.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
why
is
they
it.
put such an emphasis to being on time and being there every day, and
Mm.
uh,
Mhm.
that just being there is more important than anything else.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what
It's
you do,
like,
just make sure you're here.
yeah, as long as you're here,
Mm.
conforming to the system, supporting the system. How dare you
Mhm.
go out and do your own thing?
Yeah, that's not gonna make me money.
Yes,
That's that's
yes.
that's how it feels. But I remember coming across you a while ago now, and I'll be honest, it took me a few videos to realize that it was a character. I thought the character was genuine, and at first of all, I thought, oh, isn't it amazing? This guy just he, it's so simple, but it's so true. You know, we all try and overcomplicate things, and this guy just has it straight down. You know, just in simple terms, what we're all thinking. And then it wasn't until, yeah, further on down, sort of, when I looked more into your videos that I realized, oh, it's a character.
Yeah,
And then I started checking out your stand up, and yeah, no, yeah, I've been really excited to have you on because I listen or watch a lot of your videos, and yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of things, especially when it comes to how we all feel about ourselves or how we all feel about life, maybe being stuck or it's not going so well. But I think there's one where you sort of say, basically just life isn't that bad, is it? It isn't really. And then you think, well, it isn't actually. No, it's all right. It's just simple,
yeah.
simple
I
but
mean,
perfect.
yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we could do to just make ourselves feel better about life and enjoy, and just be focused on that instead of
Mm,
all the horrible things. Again, society and life, there, all the messages we get are all just, fear and be scared, and it's like once you stop listening to all that,
mm.
life is pretty good, even
Yeah,
if it's not perfect. And that's the other thing is that society keeps telling us what we think should be important and what we should have and what we should be accomplishing and all these things. It's like
mm.
it doesn't really matter.
No, it
It
doesn't.
really doesn't.
No, it
As long
doesn't.
as you're
It
not
really
hurting
doesn't.
anybody and you're having a good time,
Hmm.
stop listening to all that nonsense. And that really is my goal with these videos, is just get people to just, stop and enjoy what they have. Because you never know when it's
Hmm.
gonna be over,
No,
I mean,
no, that's
I
it.
had
That's it.
yeah, I mean, yesterday, I was driving and there was a semi, a big tractor trailer in front of me, and he was trying to make a lane change, and he wasn't paying that much of attention to there was a car that was kind of in his blind spot, and he swerved over, and the car, I mean, they came within, I was surprised they didn't touch. I mean, it looked like they were gonna hit, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like right behind him, so I'm like, trying to I see what's about to happen, so I'm trying to move over in case they do crash, that I don't get involved in what's going on ahead of me. But the one guy managed to, get over off on the shoulder and let the semi get into place and avoid the accident. But
Yeah, yeah.
it all happened so quickly. And I'm thinking, man, that's how it could just be over, just that quick.
Hmm.
Just a simple guy, somebody making a lane change and your life is over.
Yeah.
And
It's one of those. Sorry, continue, Rodney.
oh, that was the end of the thought.
Yeah, no, it is. It can just sort of. I have those thoughts, but I try and have them less and less because it does, do something like when you think, it, when you see something like, yeah, it can be over before, and sometimes before you don't know it's over, and you're gone. Do you know what I mean? So it's important to enjoy every moment you have. I mean, it's easier said than done, I think, when you're having your bad days, but I think it is important to try and keep that at the forefront of your mind, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it was Marcus Aurelius that had the thought that you should treat every day like it's your last,
Mhm.
because that changes the way you respond to people and to things. You actually are just more present in the
Mhm.
moment, in the now, as it were. If you're thinking, "Hey, this
Yeah.
is my last day," I
And
mean,
I
really,
think
if you were told it's your last day, how would you respond? How would you treat other people? What would you do?
I'd probably spend it in bed crying. But no, I understand. I know exactly where you're coming from. I think this day and age, though, it's you hear that quote and maybe sometimes you interpret it in a different way because, like you said there, it's more about being present in the moment and the now and enjoying what you have. But I think now because of social media and because you see so much going on and other people living their best life that when you hear that, you think, oh, I need to do everything every day. I need to always be having my highlight reel. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's been lost a little bit, that saying, unfortunately.
Very true. Very true.
Mm.
And it's just a simple just change of your mind of it's like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy all of this, of its madness and all of it, even in the
Mm-hmm.
sad moments, when someone passes away, I've had that experience this last year and have someone very close to you pass away. It's
Mm-hmm.
easy to get very sad and melancholy, but at the same time,
Mm.
if you focus on just remembering the really good times and
Yeah.
instead of being sad, take a moment to agree. And sometimes just I think we have a tendency to make emotions like being sad. We think that it's bad to be sad. And it's like we need
Mm-hmm.
those. We need those moments of melancholy, as it were, and that's why we
Yeah.
like listening to sad songs. We like.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, one of my favorite songs was "Seasons in the Sun."
Okay.
Back in the '70s, it was like a lot of songs were about everybody dying, and that was
Okay.
what that song's about. Is hey, I'm gonna die, and so
Yeah.
he's just singing to his family and friends and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna die, but hey, I had a good time while I was here." And,
Thanks for
for a
coming.
kid, 6 years old, I used to love listening to that song because it would make me feel sad.
Yeah. And we
Mhm.
oh, he's gone.
So it's just
You still there,
enjoying
Rods?
the emotions and just enjoying the whole thing. Because
Lost
none of
him.
us get out of here alive. Death is part of the whole thing, and
Shall we just
you
wait?
can get upset about it and be mad about it and confused and live your life
Hope
in
I can
fear.
edit this
Or
out.
you can just say, "Hey, look, I'm going to enjoy every day,
I'm
every
still here,
moment that
right?
I
Yeah,
can.
I'm still here.
Just be
This is
grateful
the
that I
beauty of
had any of
technology,
this at
everyone.
all." Still there? Are we delay? Are we pausing? I have no idea what's going on. Are you still
Where's he
there?
gone?
What happened?
Oh,
What
find him.
happened?
Where did you go? Where did you go, Rodney?
So we hit a delay? What's going on? What's the deal?
I think his internet's gone. He left with me. But it's interesting, though, isn't it?
We got a bad connection.
Interesting man.
What's going on? Is it the
I'll
comet?
ask him when he
Maybe it's
comes
the
back,
is
though,
it that
because,
comet? Three
yeah, he
Eye
talks about being
Atlas? Is that
sad.
what is
And
it
I think it is
disrupting
important to be sad.
communications?
I think in sadness you can find
Solar
reflection.
flares? Is solar flare just hitting disrupting communication?
But I'll also say to him as well that it's funny how, like, I don't know if you do it, but when you're sad, you feel like you want to make yourself more sad.
Hello?
So you listen to like really sad music. I was trying to think of a better way to say that. Like, where's
I don't
Rodney
know.
gone?
Is it recording on your end or my end? I'm not sure how this goes, but here I am.
I don't want to stop it because I don't know if
I
that
don't know
will
if you
just
can hear me. I
start
can't
giving
hear
up.
you.
So
It's still
I'm just going to
recording.
continue
Well,
recording
hello.
and then see what happens, I suppose.
Do, do, do.
Because he's not even on Insta, so I think his connection wasn't very good anyway, so maybe it's gone. I was enjoying that, man. I was so nervous before this, by the way. So nervous. I've calmed down a little bit now. You probably noticed that at the beginning of this video, I was shitting myself, to be quite honest with you. Yes. I don't know what to do. Because I play the guitar. I can't actually play the guitar. Come on, Rodney. Oh, damn. Right, he's just come back to me and said it's stalled out. So let's see if he can come back via the link, or I might have to do a new one. Well, that will be frustrating. Still recording, though. Probably hear me type, by the way. Just waiting to see if Rodney returns. The Return of Rodney. Oh, that should be a name for one of his stand-up shows. The Return of Rodney. Rodney Returns or The Return of Rodney? Return of Rodney. That's better. That's definitely better. Where the hell is he? It's interesting, though, isn't it? He's an interesting fella. Any questions to ask him, really? Now, I don't know if his is still recording, even though it's offline, because apparently it can do that. So we might see what Rodney's up to when I go to fucking check out the video after. Oh, I was just getting into it, man. I was just getting into it. Now, the question is, how long do I wait? Well, as Rodney said, we've got nowhere else to be. Boom Arm's coming. Well, Andy, though, to be fair, that was a great purchase. Bargain as well, by the way. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent, but bargain. Should see how I've got it set up, though. It looks all good here. You should see behind there. You should see everything else is a fucking mess, by the way. But here, this looks great. That's way pits there. Well, that would have been embarrassing. But yeah, it's my first big guest day. Oh,
Hello,
I
you
think
there?
he's back.
You there? Can you hear me at all?
Something's happening.
There we go.
Technology. Bloody technology. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help. He's back. He's back.
There we are. Sure, keep timing out.
Yeah, technology, eh?
Yeah.
It's wonderful when it works. It's a nightmare when it doesn't.
Yes, that's very true.
But yeah, I was gonna mention to you when you were talking about the sad songs. I was agreeing with you, and I was thinking to myself, it is true how, you know, even when we are sad, we want to put a sad song on to make ourselves a little bit more sad. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be something we do as being human. You know, it's not let's try and cheer ourselves up. No, I want to sit in this a bit longer, so I'm going to put a sad song on.
Yeah.
But I think sadness is important. I think in sadness you can find reflection. I think that's also true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, you just take a moment, and I've heard people say, grief is just love with no place to go. I
Yeah.
agree with that to some degree. But,
Mhm.
it's just the idea of, when you're thinking about somebody who's moved on to another existence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to cry. Sometimes you just want to feel sad.
Yeah, and I can understand that saying to an extent as well. Yeah, because you're grieving because you did love or because you have love for the person that you've lost. It is love, but it's yeah. So I suppose it is love with nowhere to go, isn't it? Because the person's now gone. So it's quite.
You
I've
can't
never heard
call
that
them,
before.
Yeah. It's always kind of stuck with me. It's like, yeah, they're not here. I can't call them. I can't give them a hug. But
Mm.
I guess the way I can feel connected is, put on an old song and feel sad for a
Yeah.
little while.
Mm-hmm. Or a song that helps you remind you of them or of that person. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But your clips on Instagram, just very quickly, are they very spontaneous? Do you have the idea and then you get your phone and you film, or do you have like a catalog that you go through, or how do you work through that?
Like as I've tried, I think a lot of it's just like with comedy, a lot of it just kind of comes in spurts. I get an
Mm.
inkling of an idea and I just hurry and film it. Usually they're all done in one take.
You okay? It's gone again. That's a shame, man. It's a real shame. I think we'll just get into it, and then bloody technology, eh? Are you okay? I'll ask you. Internet, technology.
Oh, the solar flares, or I don't know what's going on. Keeps tagging us out.
Just writing down some questions for Rodney. I
Oh,
think I'll let him go. Not that I have any say when he can go or not. It's been a while. Oh, I don't think it's it. It's a shame, man. It's a real shame. Maybe I can get him again.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Rodney said he's all right and he's going to try and get back on. It killed the momentum. We were vibing at one point. Oh, he's back. Yes. Rodney's back.
You there?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
what's
I
going
do
on.
apologize.
Oh, no worries.
Are you settled?
Yeah, I'm settled. Let's
Okay.
let's keep going.
Yeah, all right. Awesome.
Further.
Well, it's the sadness, how we feel sad. So is there lessons that you've learned, like through your life, that you sort of incorporate into your day to day now, or do you just try and, like you said earlier, just try and have each day as it comes and enjoy the now and not think too much?
Yeah, you have these sort of opposing views of, one, you want to be prepared for the future and you always be, looking out for the future. But at the same time, you don't want to miss out on what's in front of you because you don't know if you're going to have a future.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you still got to prepare for it in case you do. So it's
Yeah.
it's it's kind of bizarre. Well, I've watched the last couple of years, I watched my brother who was told, hey, you're dying, go home.
Mhm.
And, from cancer treatment, they told him he had 2 months to live. He actually
Okay.
lived 4 more years. And
Okay.
so for
So
four
yeah.
years ago, I watched him. Yeah, I thought it was over any time now. He didn't
Yeah.
have a future to plan for. All he had was just right now.
Mhm.
And watching him go through that. And then my daughter, just after he passed away, ends up getting cancer and going through treatment, and she passes
Okay.
away.
Jesus. All right. Sorry,
And
Rods.
just watching that, watching them go through what they went through, it was,
Mhm.
yeah, it just makes you realize, hey, just take it for what it is, good, bad, or otherwise,
Yeah.
Um, and that's really affected me. I mean, I've always been more of a just enjoy life while you can anyway, but I think that just made it emphasized even more in the way I live my life
Mhm.
nowadays. And that's why, I'll make these videos and they look silly. And I get people that make fun of me and they go, oh, who's this old weird dude?
Yeah.
But I part of why I do what I do is to get people to realize that none of this matters.
Yeah.
That your hair is perfect, or you got the clothes just right, or in the perfect spot, or
Mm.
you sound like you're the most intelligent person in the room. All that, none of that matters.
No.
And that, that's why I don't strive for perfection in my videos, and that not trying to be perfect is makes them perfect.
And I think you're absolutely right. And I think the people you say that give you those negative comments, I don't think they understand the approach or the meaning behind the video. Like you said there, the whole reason is because it shouldn't be so serious. And so I'm not trying to be serious. So your comments are somewhat null and void because you're proving my point in a roundabout way. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. I
it's
don't.
quite ironic.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Because they'll
Yeah, I find I enjoy the negative comments more
mm,
because it just means that somebody's new is finding me. They don't know the whole story. They don't know who I
mm,
am. So I know
yeah.
that their reaction to me is based not on who I am, but who they are and how they
Mm-hmm.
see other people. And yeah, I have people often will get mad at me because they think that I'm making fun of people with
Mm,
disabilities.
yeah.
And I'm like, why do you think that somebody who speaks like this has a disability?
So,
I
yeah.
mean,
So maybe
that's
you're
you.
the
You're
problem.
projecting. Yeah, you're the one projecting this idea. I mean, there's lots of people. My sister had brain cancer and she had
Mm,
surgery,
mm,
and because of it, she doesn't have the best motor skills when it comes to speaking,
mm-hmm.
but she's still just as intelligent. It's the same person before
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
surgery as after.
Mm-hmm.
And just because she sounds like she has a problem, the only
Mm,
problem is that she just doesn't speak very well.
yeah. Yeah.
But her intelligence and her personality is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just a little slower getting the delivery. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
when people think that that's what I'm doing, I'm going, no. The point that I'm making is that uh, most of the people that you look past, the people that you ignore, that you think they're less than you, are just as intelligent and just as capable as in life as anyone else, but they get
Mm-hmm.
overlooked or they get pushed to the side because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
And
No.
that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've done to ourselves is that we push everybody into, we marginalize people that aren't exactly like we think they should be. That's why Instagram is so horrible for society because we're constantly being given these images of what perfection is, how we
Yeah.
should be, how we should all act, and all. And a lot of it's just nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is I'm making fun of that whole idea, making fun
Yeah.
of making fun of perfection.
Yeah, and
because
I think it's
perfection
great.
pretty boring.
Yeah, it's that there's more fun to be had in the weird than there is in the normal. I think anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
I seen a video of yours the other day, and I think you were just I don't know what you were doing or where you were, but you just stood over like a fan or like a some heavy gust, and your hair was just everywhere, and I think you just stayed there and stared at it for about I don't know 20 seconds. And the more I watched it, the more I kept laughing because it was just there was nothing to it, but it was just it just tickled me so much, and I don't know why, but I just kept watching it. And I was like, I don't know why this is so funny, but it is. Like I don't know why, but it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just find those just silly moments, and you know, I I I've made my first video where I don't say anything.
Mm.
I was I had my little studio kind of set up, and I was making people have me wish people happy birthday and anniversary and that kind of stuff, and so I was making a bunch of those videos, and I'm sitting there just kind of lost in thought about a video that I was getting ready to make. I was just thinking about what I was going to say, and trying to make it personalized for the person,
Mm.
and I'm just staring at my phone, just kind of lost in thought. I realized that I was recording. I
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I did, and so I just kind of kept staring at the phone. I just thought, huh, you know, and recorded myself saying nothing for a minute or so,
That'll do.
and I thought I ought to just post this. This is just so stupid.
Yeah.
And so I did. And it was funny because, I'm sitting there just thinking about what I'm going to say. And I'm just kind of lost in thought, but I'm staring at the camera at the same time. And I had people that were like, had these strong emotional connections with this video where I'm just
Okay.
literally just staring at them. And so now it's become something I do pretty regularly, when
Yeah.
I find weird places that I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the one you were talking about. I was at a gas station in Arizona in the middle of the night, and the wind is just, going crazy. Sitting there looking at my reflection in the glass on the side of the car, and I see my hair going all crazy, and I thought, "Oh, this is fun. I should record this." So I hurried, pulled out my phone, and yeah, it's just my hair going nuts. I thought, I didn't need to say anything. That's just
Yeah.
fun in itself.
Yeah.
Just play. I'm just playing. I'm just goofing off, having a good time.
And so when can you remember the first video you done that it was like that you realized, oh, a lot of people like this, or did it just happen very gradually?
There was one video in particular that just blew up it's like over 400 million views worldwide at this point. Just because it had been re-memed by a lot of different people and basically people stole my video, and my videos always do much better when somebody else posts them than when I do. So
Don't do yourself an injustice.
yeah, it just happens. It's just the nature of the beast, I guess.
But that's mad
But
though that someone could take your content. Sorry, Rodney.
yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, it's just like I said, it's just nature of the beast. And you go back and forth. It's like, okay, do I put copyright on everything? Which
Yeah.
I still own the copyright to everything, but at the same time, you got to pick your. If I sat here and just went after every person who used my video, I wouldn't have any time
Yeah. You wouldn't get much
on my
done.
hands to do anything. I'm just wrapped up chasing people down, and
Yeah.
at some
For
point,
a
you
bit.
just gotta yeah, just let it go. Just get what I
Yeah.
can out of it. But yeah, there are
Mm.
people who have made a lot more money off of me than I have.
Okay. Yeah, that's not great. But I think if
Yeah,
you're
but
but like, say you don't want to be chasing people over a video of you staring into a puddle. I suppose you've probably got better things to do.
yeah, I got it's just. I mean, there's a few that I've had to go after for various reasons, but for the most
Mm.
part, I just it's all in fun.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
It's
I
all in
suppose
fun. But yeah, but no, I just had one video that was it wasn't even it was not planned. It was just a response to somebody else's comment on Facebook.
Mm,
And that video in particular just blew up so big
mm,
that, kind of pushed me into the consciousness of a lot of people. And they started pursuing and looking and finding out who I was and
mm,
watching my other videos.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just that one video where I'm standing out in the woods wearing a pair of coveralls, and I don't really say anything. It just muttered nonsense for the most part,
Mm,
and about people arguing over things. And yeah, you never know. I mean, that's the thing. You never know what's really going to hit and connect with people.
yeah.
And
And
what I
then like,
find is it's usually the dumbest things.
that's probably somewhere where I'm having a hard time. I think like you said before, I try and be too maybe finished or polished or perfect in my videos or content rather than just letting it be, and just being my authentic self.
Yeah,
So maybe I take a bit of your advice, Rodney, and just have some fun with it. Don't take it too seriously.
yeah. Well, it was funny because once I started blowing up and people started following me, I had people, consultants and stuff, were contacting me and people giving me advice, telling me, oh, I need to do this and do that. And what they were telling me was I needed to be more like everybody else.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, I got here because I'm not like everybody else.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
I
stick
mean,
to me.
yeah, it's like, the point is that no, it's not what everybody else is doing. And that's
Yeah,
kind of the deal.
yeah,
That's what I'm trying to tell people. Look, just be you. Get on there and have fun.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Was it crazy for you, like you said there, to 1 minute sort of post a video and then next thing you got consultants or you blow up and you got people reposting and did that sort of did it make you feel a bit, I don't know what the word is, like yeah, like, oh, I'm recognized now possibly, or did you get recognized now more so when you go to places through your videos and
Oh yeah, I get recognized in all kinds of weird places.
yeah,
Um,
okay.
I was checking into a hotel a couple nights ago, and the guy who was checking in before me knew who I was and just started kind of fanboying out on me and
Yeah,
started going on and on about all these different videos that he's seen and how it's changed his life. And
yeah,
meanwhile, the
okay.
lady at the checkout counter, she has no idea who I am.
Yeah, she
And
just thought
she's
you were
just
some
like,
crazy guy.
wow. Yeah, she's like, I don't know what's going on here. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
funny though.
my message is like, anybody. I mean, that's the fun thing about the internet now is just about anybody could just make a silly video and
Mm.
post it, and all of a sudden you're famous.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It
More
is
so,
mad.
more now than ever before in any point in time in history, just you can e- express yourself to so
Mm.
many people. I mean, I mean, you're in Europe, I'm in the States, and
Yeah.
even though we have the technical difficulties, we're still
Yeah.
having a great time having a
Yeah.
conversation. I mean, this is a great time to be alive,
Yeah, no, it
you know?
is.
Get
It
yourself
is.
out there, who cares if you look like an idiot? We're all idiots.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're not gonna be here, no one's gonna remember, so you may as well just enjoy yourself whilst you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're all just borrowing time, and we're all just renting. All of our stuff
Mm.
that we have is going to be here long after we're gone, and it's
Mhm.
either going to get thrown into a garbage dump and sit around with a lot of other crap, or
Yeah.
it's gonna be, I mean, it's all just stuff, and
Mm.
it you can't take it with you. I mean, just don't get attached to your stuff. Kind of a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. And I think it's yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, it's everything is borrowed, when you're gone, it all goes back to wherever it came from or into a thrift shop. But I think that was one of my, or still is one of my sort of sayings is, especially with money, like I can't take it with me. So I may as well enjoy it whilst I have it or whilst I'm here. Again, that leads you to the paradox of, well, if I am here I do still need to plan for the future if it does come. Like, I do need to have money somewhere.
Yeah,
So I've always been terrible with my finances. When I have it, I want to enjoy it. I don't look too far ahead. It's always I'll deal with that tomorrow. Today I'm dealing with tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll deal with tomorrow. Tomorrow.
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how I've had to do it.
I'm still there.
I haven't made the riches yet. Everybody thinks if you become famous on the internet that you become rich, and no, they are
Yeah,
not. They're not exclusive
yeah. They're not paying me that
at
way.
all. Yeah. Well, I get people message me saying, well, you got all this money that you're making. Why don't you give me some? Help me out. And I'm going like I'm hiding my car at the neighbor's place so it doesn't get repossessed. What are
Yeah.
you talking
Okay.
about?
Yeah. Why don't you give me some money?
Yeah, why don't you go buy a T-shirt from me and help me so I can get gas money so I can get to my next gig?
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, it's like, what is it? TikTok, I have like almost 900,000 followers.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you must be making a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, last month I made $17 off of TikTok.
Okay. Jesus.
So if you think becoming famous on the internet is the answer, no, it ain't.
Spoiler. Yeah. No, to be honest, I assumed that also when I seen your following. I thought that's why I suggested you coming to Copenhagen. So yeah, it is very naive, I think, to think that. Maybe you assume when you see other people on social media that if they've got huge followings and they're doing okay, but it's again it's what people want to project rather than what the reality is, I suppose. Whereas you're showing reality of life, which is
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got the people that make all the videos with all the money and the well, it was actually I have a friend who he is wealthy. He's married to a doctor. Mm.
mm,
She's very successful and they live in a mansion. He drives a Ferrari, has a swimming pool in his backyard. I mean, he's got everything you could ever want, hope to be.
mm-hmm.
And he was trying to he was trying to become a big
No, fucking technology. Fuck's sake, man. Technology. Just seems to be as you're getting into it, eh? No. I'm not as entertaining, so you gotta be left with me, guys. That there. That's me in the paper from Porto. It's not a real newspaper though, but nobody has to know that. It could be our little secret. We reflect on what he was talking about. But it is true though, isn't it? To not take things too seriously and just to be... I know I do have that issue with the content, like I am trying too hard maybe. Maybe that can be seen. I don't know. But I don't really want to wrap it up with rods, but I think I might have to because I don't actually know how much. I'm speaking to Rodney Norman, and that's fucking crazy. See myself in the mirror there, and you should see where I'm sat and what I've got. Like I said, it looks great here. Everywhere else, shithole, mate, shit heap. The room's lovely, but right now it's a mess because I've had to move everything. Ignore that thing. That's not very aesthetic pleasing, is it? Forgot to move that, didn't I? The headphones on. Right, little podcast. I'm getting hungry. Yeah. Well, Rodney's just texted me and said that he's at a farm in the middle of nowhere, so that's probably not helping, which probably isn't. He's in Fort Worth tomorrow. So we'll follow up again then. But that's been fun. I fucking enjoyed that. So yeah, I guess part 2 is on its way due to technical difficulties. Thanks for listening. And like Rodney says, don't take life too seriously. And as I say, be good to yourself. Thanks. Maybe podcast? And your cat. So yeah. Dan, episode done.